Hey, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day, whatever you are doing today. I decided it was probably about time for another one of these. So I don't know if this will be very long because I just have a few things that I want to talk about, but I thought I would do one regardless because people seem to enjoy them. So, what's going on? As usual, it's always amusing to me how things play out around here because it's never what I think will happen ever. I'm always surprised by things. And I recently put out quite a few shorts that were highlighting some of the things that were going on in BJ's background during her streams. And I did that because I felt it was important and because she was coming out saying that she didn't want to take anybody's channel. And she had gone into Jay's and made a nice comment. And so the way BJ works is she will either reach out to creators behind the scenes and try to talk to them privately to convince them of something without the input of others, because she knows that other people are going to reason with this one person. But if she can get them alone, she can use her emotional manipulation to try to weasel her way into their good graces again. Or she will do something like what she has done with like Jones in the past or Dietz in the past, where she's against them, against them, against them. One thing is said that's in defense of her or just generally stating that they don't agree with something that's happening. And she jumps on that. I remember in the past, whenever Joneson was going at her for things, and there was a situation that came up and they like looked into it and said it was wrong, that, they can't go along with it. And BJ's immediate response was, I've always liked you. I think you're funny. I think you're pretty. I think all of this love bombing because she saw a break. She sees this little crack form and she's like, I'm going to wedge my way in there and see if I can fit, if I can get accepted. And that's what she tries to do. And that's what she did with Jay, because Jay didn't agree with something that another creator was talking about. She saw it. It was something that was in her favor, even though Jay would have been against it no matter who it was. So this wasn't a BJ specific thing, but she, of course, everything to BJ is all about BJ. But she saw that. So she rushed over to Jay's chat, which, by the way, she never watches anybody, right? And thanks her, in her comments. And she was waiting for, a warm response back. She's just looking for any crack to get in there. And if she could wedge herself in and get creators on over here to fight, oh God, she would be in hog heaven, I swear. But so we saw that happening. And so then BJ goes to her own channel and she's like, I don't want to see people's channels go down, because part of what Jay was defending was about her channel not going down. So when I saw her trying to do that, I was like, oh no, because we as viewers, we have sat here and listened to the threats for months go on, and we have been worried about it. You know, as subs, we've worried about coming on here and discovering that our favorite creator was just gone, that their channel was gone. So it's really been stressful. And I don't think, people can play that off however they want. But when you have somebody making so many direct threats about taking people down, and the fact that they have hired an attorney, it was a very real threat to many people, and it was very stressful to many people. I mean, especially stressful to the creators, but I don't know if everybody realizes how stressful it is to subs too, that those of us who come on here for social interaction and because we have anxiety, because there's things in our real lives that we need to escape from for a little bit, and there's a chance we might come on here and that's gone just out of nowhere. It's extremely stressful to us too. So I wasn't going to just sit back and let all of that crap that we've been hearing for months just be thrown to the side and her say, no, I wasn't getting rid of, I didn't want anyone's laser channel. So that's why I made those shorts, because I want people to see that this is what was said. These were the threats being made over and over and over. And while doing that, I also realized how horrible Craig speaks to women. They want to talk about Cletus and beat him, and that people like that, they want to talk about that they're vicious to women and that they shouldn't talk to women that way. But then you hear Craig over there saying horrible things in the background to a bunch of women that he doesn't even listen to. Like, at least Cletus and Truth and beat him, are involved and know what people are actually saying on here. They're not getting it secondhand from somebody and reacting. They are actually hearing it, for themselves, and they know the characters and they know what's going on. Well, Craig doesn't even know who these people are. They're just people that BJ mentions to him and says they're doing the worst of things I can imagine. So I realized also how horribly he is speaking to people. But that's the reason that I put those out is at that and the whole money situation, which is super sus, in my opinion, still to this day, because the amounts have been so different. There was definitely private pay links pushed for a lawyer fund before the fundraiser was formed. There's just been a lot of weirdness about that. And then you have Craig saying in the background that he has money, he has money. And I'm getting ready to make a short with all of the things that they said they bought from June to now, because I think people would be shocked to hear it all from their mouths, how many expensive things they bought during that time. And I know she says it's all Best Buy credit, but you have to make a payment on that. So the timing is just really strange. So I'm going to make a short about that too. Probably several more shorts coming out, highlighting things that I think are important for everyone to see. So BJ said something on her first live yesterday that kind of pissed me off. And I think he was reading comments as usual and pinned someone's comment saying that there's no wonder that we are also hateful over here because most of us are atheists and we have no God. So listen, first of all, whatever Christianity that BJ subscribes to, I want no part of because it is not anything that I ever learned through the Bible, through church, through studies, whatever. Her kind of Christianity is not what I believe, okay? That does not mean that I don't have a relationship with God, because I do. People don't have to worship the same way as you to have a relationship with God. And people can worship in other ways that isn't necessarily to one God or one object. People all have their own belief system, and that is up to every individual person. But to try to say that everyone over here, or the majority of us over here, are atheists and we're horrible people because we don't have a God is just a false statement. I have seen so many people over here that are believers and that pray for each other. And I know people that are kind of on the border. They don't know if they believe or not. And I've seen people who have other beliefs, but they're very full of faith. So that just particularly offended me because it is an untrue statement. And it is a thing where BJ seems to believe that if you do not believe as she does, you're wrong. If you don't believe as she does, you're damned to hell. So I don't subscribe to that belief, okay? I think everybody can have their own beliefs and their own faith in something, and they're not hateful people because of that. So I find that offending, and that just stood out to me. So, and of course, again, we're back to everyone over here is miserable because we want to destroy people, and happy, beautiful people don't have those feelings. Happy, beautiful people don't focus on YouTube all day and tearing other people down. Excuse me, BJ, you may hide that you're on YouTube all day long, but we know that you are. You're not fooling anyone. And you're definitely not the picture of a happy, beautiful person. I hate to break it to you. You're just not. You actually appear more miserable to me than most of the people I interact with over here. So you are forever the one coming on with some new tragedy that has happened to you that day, some new problem, some new person coming after you. So, I mean, it's always something with you. So I don't see that over here. We do come on and we criticize and do commentary on what you're doing over there. That does not equal hatefulness. Like there's some kind of disconnect that she can't understand that criticism and commentary does not equal hatred and stalking. I'm not sure why she doesn't understand that, but it's a different thing. It's people don't have to hate you to review you and do commentary on you. People don't have to wish harm on you because they're reviewing you and doing commentary on you. That's just not how it works. This is YouTube. Do you know how much of YouTube is people doing reactions and commentary? A lot of it, a whole lot of it. And do you know how many communities are focused on one person, on doing reaction and commentary on one person? There's actually a lot. And it is not considered harassment and stalking. It is part of what people do on YouTube. And then she was talking about, of course, she's back to talking about truth again, because she feels like truth put her and her community at risk or in danger, whatever she said, by linking her to what Moon said. And then she says that truth scares her and that he's not a good person. And that he almost seems like he has multiple personalities, that he'll come on here one day and be calm and relaxed, and then he'll come on here the next day raging about something. Well, I think that depends on what is being said about him and what is happening in the community. If there's something to be angry about, he's going to be angry and he's allowed to do that. Everybody's anger manifests differently. I would say that there are people that think Craig is scary because of some of the odd statements he makes in the background. As highlighted in one of my shorts, he jumps to people coming together to do commentary on your videos the same as people getting together to sacrifice a baby. What? Like I never would have made that leap in 1,000 years. So, and then the whole disposing of a body thing, like there are people that would say Craig is scary. So I think that truth is he's going to tell you how he feels. He's a blunt person, as many of the creators over here are. They're upfront and honest and open, unlike BJ, who is fake and tries to put on this happy Christian housewife act for everyone every day. So, yeah. So another thing that she talked about was she said that there's a creator that she listened to that is telling her subs and her viewers to not sub to or go watch BJ's streams or her channel. And so she's complaining that this creator is taking away her viewership and turning people away from wanting to come over and watch her. And then she mentions that this creator is getting thousands upon thousands of dollars for legal funds. So I can only assume that she's talking about Granny. And this is the problem with BJ. So right now, I mean, maybe a few nights ago, there are people coming into her chat and she immediately jumps to, these are Granny subs coming in here. They're sent over by Granny, or this is Granny. So if Granny doesn't address it, BJ accuses every troll that comes over there of being sent by Granny or defending Granny. But if Granny speaks out and says, hey, y'all don't go over there, don't harass her, don't make comments in her chat, then she is keeping people from subbing to BJ and she's hurting her channel. So, like, she can't win. There's nothing she can do that is going to be right for BJ. But then she also said that this creator was telling people not to donate to BJ. And Granny has never said that. I know that. She would never say, don't donate to this person. So I think she just made that part up. But the fact is that, Granny can't win no matter what she does. BJ is going to twist it to be Granny is doing something to her purposefully. Even if she's trying to keep people from trolling, well, then she's keeping people from subbing to her. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I swear. And she talked about changing her channel name. So, this is another thing. Like, I guess I don't completely understand all of the rules with monetization and how it works. But what I do know is that BJ is trying to show loss of income. And I actually have a clip of her saying that she needed to show her attorney loss of income, which will be in an upcoming short. But she also has hidden and deleted, which she shouldn't have done, but a large part of her library, of her streams. And we've heard multiple reasons why she did that. She has said, because she's starting over doing true crime. She wants all the drama off her channel. We've heard that she doesn't know what people are going to do because people are talking about mass flagging her. And so she was afraid to leave stuff up, which if you're following terms of service, you shouldn't be afraid to leave your stuff up. But I digress. And then what else have we heard? There's just been several excuses for why she hid it. But it caught my ear whenever I heard her say that she needed to show loss of income for her new attorney. So whenever she did hide all of that, I do know that she took herself out of the algorithm, which affects the amount of new subscribers, new viewers to your channel, which will affect the amount of viewerships you get. So with her changing her channel name, I don't know, because I don't know enough about all of that stuff. I don't know if that's going to also negatively impact her because people will be searching her old name. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but I don't even know if it'll happen because we know with DJ, she then never follows through with it. So I don't know. And then I'm not going to say a whole lot on this, but I wanted to touch on it because it was something that she focused on. So she says that she saw in a chat somewhere that they were saying that this was Mr. and Mrs. E's karma for being part of the green team and covering the injunction. I did not see that anywhere. I do not believe that anybody would say that. I saw people with well wishes and prayers and saying that it doesn't matter who it is, they don't deserve that in life. And I completely agree. Nobody deserves to go through cancer. Nobody deserves to watch your child go through cancer, your loved one go through it. Fuck cancer. It's horrible. Nobody wishes that on anybody. Well, I bet he wished it on somebody, but normal people do not wish that on people. And nobody around here would either. What was being said is, and this is people of integrity don't change things because of a situation. So that made no sense. Let me explain it. There are a lot of people that watched the E's cover the injunction and Sebastian's case. And there were a lot of people that formed their opinions about who these people are, whether or not you liked the way they presented themselves, whether or not you liked the behaviors. I myself did not. I think that they did some pretty awful things. So people with integrity aren't going to suddenly say, "Oh my God, they're such great people." You don't change your view of the person because of the situation they're going through. So, yes, I can say, I don't care for the E's, but they don't deserve that. And prayers and all the positivity sent to them to get through what they're going through. But I still don't like them as people. And you can do that. That doesn't mean that you're saying that you are wishing it on him, that you think it's good, that you think it's deserved. None of that. You're just saying, I still don't like them, but they don't deserve this. So then somebody came into chat and kind of questioned her about it and said, I haven't seen that anywhere. So then she comes out and says, why would I lie about that? I've got a screenshot somewhere. It's a comment. I saw that comment. So suddenly we went from she saw them say that it was karma, the whole they them thing, to suddenly whenever she gets called out, it was one comment that she got a screenshot of somewhere. Well, I'm sure somewhere somebody said it. Just like BHV wish cancer on Queen Bee. Okay, there's going to be your outliers that do that. Okay, that doesn't mean it was a group think thing. It wasn't like we all sat in a circle and wished it upon them. So I didn't even want to speak on that. And I do hope that they get through this and that their son recovers and goes into remission and does well. I can still wish that, even though I don't care for them as people. The next thing, BJ is talking about how people, the word obsessed gets thrown around a lot in this community because BJ thinks everybody is obsessed with her, especially Granny. And on the contrary, we think that BJ is obsessed with Granny and now Clue a little bit. But so her claim is that she is not overly obsessed with anybody because she said that she had somebody, and this was interesting because I wonder who and in what context this was being asked to her, but she said she had somebody asking her questions about, quote, these people. And she couldn't answer them because she isn't interested in these people's real lives like they are with hers. So she says, I couldn't tell you how many siblings Clue and Cletus have or how many Granny has. I couldn't tell you where they grew up or about their family or what jobs they've had, but they can sure tell about me. And that's because I don't care enough about these people to look it up. Well, listen, the reason BJ doesn't know details about these people is because these people don't spill out their life information onto the public platform that they use. BJ overshares like crazy, like crazy. I mean, literally, if somebody wants to know something about BJ, all you have to do is hint around at something and it's going to offend her and she is going to tell you every detail about that situation. I mean, you don't even have to ask. Like, if you just mention something on a stream and she hears it and she's like, oh, people are going to think bad of me, she's going to spill every detail about everything. I mean, we have heard so many details about so many things that we didn't need to know about. So, yeah, she doesn't know a lot of things about these people because they're not on here spilling their guts to everybody. They're not talking about all of this personal stuff that they don't want repeated. Unlike BJ, who tells us everything and then freaks the fuck out whenever it's repeated. But that's why you don't know all of that, BJ, is because it is not freely given out by other people. Most people try to protect that personal part of their lives. Okay, this next thing I didn't even really want to touch on, but I'm just going to be extremely vague about it. So there's something new that BJ is bringing up, and she's saying that there are alt accounts made of this, and that she has never put this out onto her platform. And I agree, I've never heard her put this out. So she's saying that there's a couple of alt accounts with this. So multiple things. First of all, I haven't seen it anywhere. Second of all, I actually wouldn't know if I seen it because I had never heard this, know nothing about it, don't want to know anything about it. Third of all, why are you talking about it on your public platform? Why are you announcing to everybody that there are alts with this on it? Because 98% of the community would never know what it is if they come across it. But now that you're announcing it for everybody, her people are going to screenshot it and run back to her with the horrible comments that are being made under this horrible alt. Like, this is what BJ does. The same thing with her house. It was posted without any identifying information. She immediately went live, claimed it, handed out the link to it. There was a creator from Chroma that has come back into the community. And when she first came around, not a lot of people knew her because she's from the old Chroma. And she unprivated a video that had something to do with BJ on panel years ago. And most people would not have ever gone to that channel and known it was there. But what does BJ do? Goes live, announces it on her channel, shows the video, shows the channel, so that everybody knows where to go to watch it. So she puts out this stuff so that people will bite onto it and they'll take it, chew it up, spit it back out into the community, and then she can sit over there and say, they're talking about my kids, they're attacking my kids, they're talking about this situation. This is what she does. So I just tell people, be extremely careful about what you let her feed you and if you choose to speak about it, how you speak about it. Because she 1000% creates situations that she can get sympathy, money, and attention from. So if things are going along and she is not getting a lot of that, she's going to create something where she is the victim. If a couple of days have gone by and she doesn't have anything that she can cry about, she's going to make something. And people can't resist. And I understand not being able to resist it because she makes it things that are salacious and that people want to talk about. But it's giving her exactly what she wants whenever you do that. And then you have her, BJ's on this, no, I don't want drama. I don't want to do this. But she had to throw in a short that Jones had made about nonsense. She had to throw that in there so she could get a little jab at somebody because she can't go a single day without doing something to poke at somebody. And that wasn't the only thing. Some of the stuff she said was obviously poking at Granny. And so, but she played that one so that you made sure you didn't miss that she was talking about nonsense. And it's really funny. I noticed in her true crime last night that she is pausing for fair use, but it still wasn't fair use because she was falling asleep in between. When she paused, she was like, one time she picked out a comment from a hater in the chat, a negative comment, and argued back and forth with the chatter for a couple minutes and then went back to the video. Like, that's not transformation. And she also had her mods dropping the link to whatever news network that she was using to get her content from, which she's never done before. So that's interesting because we've been talking about that on our different channels about how she never uses fair use. And that's a problem when it comes to community guidelines and the partner program. So I just thought that was funny to see her try to pick that up and do it, even though she's still not doing it right because she was still falling asleep and letting it run for way too long. And whenever she stopped to talk, it was not like commentary about what they had just watched. It was her bitching at somebody. I think he needs to take a course on fair use because that wasn't it. And it was like her chat was barely moving. So it was like a statement about this is fair use commentary, one comment, and then the link to the news station, 2 comments, another fair use statement. Like, it doesn't matter how many times you drop fair use in your chat. You have to actually do it on panel for it to be fair use. And then, so she falls asleep numerous times. Well, finally, she has someone call her and tell her that she's falling asleep. So she's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to log off. And then you have her chat telling her good job. Look, I'm trying not to be mean here. I'm trying really hard. But what the actual fuck? What in the world is happening here? This is a grown woman. What, is she 37? This is a 37-year-old woman with 5 kids. And she has to have someone call to tell her to log off. And then she has people patting her on the back, telling her good job when she actually does it. It's a different world in her channel and I want no part of it. It's unreal to me that this is a functional grown woman that is having people hold her hand so that she can run her channel and log off when she gets tired. Like, dude, you know when you're getting tired. When you start feeling tired, log off. Don't wait until you're falling asleep. Like, you can feel tiredness coming on. That's when you need to log off. She has said numerous times that she's going to do earlier streams, never does it. And I know why. Because first of all, she doesn't want to miss anybody else's stream, because that's exactly why she puts off her streams when she'll schedule one early in the day. Then she puts it off for 30 minutes. Then she puts it off for an hour. She puts it off for another 45 minutes. It's because she's watching the dark side creators to see what they have to say about her. She has got FOMO. She cannot take it. So she's never going to go live earlier because she can't miss out on what's being said about her. And then she ends up waiting until she's too tired to stay awake and has to have people come and hold her hand and walk her to the bedroom and say, go to bed. What the fuck is happening? And then, people like, oh, good job, we're proud of you. And she's like, oh, thank you for the good jobs in chat. And I'm like, oh my God. There's no words. There's no words. And, it's really concerning too, how easily she falls asleep, because she acts like there is no, like, she appears as though there is no time where she is starting to get sleepy. It's like she's wide awake and then mid-sentence she's asleep. I honestly, if this is not medication related, which I'm still not convinced that it isn't, but if it's not, she really needs a sleep study, because it is extremely dangerous to drive whenever you can fall asleep that quickly and you have no warning. Because if she has a warning that she's getting sleepy, that's when she should log off. But she acts like there is no warning. So how does she know that she's not going to do that driving down the road if she has no awareness of it getting ready to happen? Does that make sense? And I want to touch on the whole situation with Granny's attorney filing the declaratory judgment in Pennsylvania, because BJ had this big freak out. Her and her supporters have decided that this piece of paper means nothing and people are getting excited over nothing. So I am not a legal professional. This is not legal advice. This is me as a layperson researching a whole bunch on Google, okay, and in different journals and things like that. And this is what I have come to. First, an interesting fact that Pennsylvania was one of the first states to enact the Uniform Declaratory Judgments Act in 1923. So they have a lot of experience with it and a lot of case law to draw from. But anyway, so what we had here was BJ spent months raising money, threatening a bunch of people with their channels being shut down, possible legal action, a lot of things, a lot of threats being thrown around, and keeping people stressed out, worried about what's going to happen for all of this time. And she loved it. She loved that intimidation tactic. So the C&Ds get sent out to Clue, Granny, and Queen Bee. Now, when you send a C&D, it is normally to say, and BJ has said this, that it's like a courtesy. Yeah, it's something to say, hey, this is what I want. And if you don't do this, I'm going to proceed with legal action. That's normally the next step in a C&D. Okay. So she sent out these C&Ds with a response date that was already passed by the time they received their C&Ds, because they were dated like a week before they were actually sent out. So they weren't even able to respond in time should they have wanted to. Now, Granny did respond to BJ's attorney, gave him a response, and never heard back from him. So now you have BJ sitting on these C&Ds and still putting out threats, but not being specific about what. And we know certain things. We know she had a flat rate attorney. We know that she claims to have paid $8,000. We know there's at least 3 people being affected, and 3 people for a defamation lawsuit for 3 different people is a lot more than $8,000. Okay. So to think that people would want some type of answer about what's going to happen to them. BJ would want the same had the roles been reversed. You don't want to just sit here with something that's basically saying you're going to pursue legal action while that person is consistently threatening some type of action, but not telling you what, for months and months and months. So since the attorney did not respond to Granny's attorney made a declaratory judgment to enter in the Pennsylvania courts. And again, this is layperson studying, okay? And the purpose of this is to afford someone relief from uncertainty and insecurity, and also to expedite things somewhat so that they aren't sitting out there in the atmosphere waiting to be addressed. So in this case, with a C&D, it's perfect for that because you have no end date in sight, you have threats, and you have a C&D that is extremely vague and has a list of things that weren't said by Granny. So Granny went live and read what they had filed, and she never said that she had won something. She never said that she had sued BJ. She never said that this was granted. She never said any of that stuff. People listen. She read it, and at the end she said, I don't know what's going to happen with this. It may not go in my favor. She said this. She also did not ask for money for it. Did not ask for money for it. Is she raising money still for her Pennsylvania and Tony suits? Yes. She did not ask for money towards this declaratory judgment, okay? So BJ then goes live after, I'm sure, talking to some people and does this whole charade of, y'all are stupid. I feel sorry for you. Y'all are stupid over there. Y'all are being handed something that's just a piece of paper. It doesn't mean anything. That's nothing. Y'all, I feel sorry for y'all. If you just Google, you'd figure it out. Well, okay. And then the reasoning by her friends is, you can put anything on a docket. It doesn't mean anything. Well, that's not exactly true. At Night tried to file, I think it was 10 different motions that never got added to the docket because they couldn't fill them out correctly. But when things are added to the docket, that means a case has started somewhere. Like, this is being put on a docket to be seen by a judge to have a determination. If you want to take it off the docket, you have to put in another motion to dismiss that motion. So it's not like this is just a piece of paper. This is set to be seen by a judge. Okay. Anyway, so it has been accepted by the court. It is appropriate. It has been filled out appropriately. It has been put on the docket to be reviewed by a judge. Whatever the judge decides with it is up to the judge, but that is not just a piece of paper like the C&D that was not on a docket anywhere, that had no follow-up to it, that had and really has no meaning because you're not doing anything after it. BJ's whole speech about this is stupid and y'all are fools and y'all are throwing your money away and all that bullshit is bullshit. Okay. I don't know how else to say it. Like, this is a case that has been filed. It is in the court's hands to be dealt with. So if you're going to say that this piece of paper means nothing, then your C&D was trash because, I mean, just reasoning. Your C&D wasn't with the courts. This is actually filed in the court, ready to be seen. So that's it. That's all. I don't know. I mean, I do know BJ saw Granny giving support and people were making donations. And that's why she had to give her whole, y'all are idiots, trying to convince people that they didn't know what they were doing and that Granny was manipulating them. I know why she did it, but it was really stupid. So a docketed motion means it's a written legal request by a party that has been officially recorded on a court's official case file and is now part of the public record. This official entry ensures the motion is tracked by the clerk and may be scheduled for a court hearing. So this is the official start of a log for this case, for this court case. Okay? It has meaning to it. So what BJ did is a prime example of how she likes to manipulate people because she was trying really, really hard to make people question their support for Granny. She was trying really hard. So she knew what she was doing, and she did it with the purpose of keeping people from supporting and donating to Granny. I don't know if she saw the support Granny was getting and mistook it as people were congratulating her for winning something, because that's not what it was. People were happy about it because it was setting into motion something concrete, because people do not like these abstract things floating around in the community with no idea of how it's going to end. As I spoke about earlier, as subs, we come in afraid that our favorite creators are just going to be gone the next day. So this was setting something concrete into motion that we can track and know what's happening. So, and besides that, it was also to clarify. So what the judge has to do is clarify if what BJ brought forth in her C&D has things in it that you can actually take her to court for, things you can actually sue for. That's an easier way to say this. So, what the judge has to decide is, well, I think jurisdiction first, and second is whether or not these things listed in here are actually some things she can sue Granny for. So, people in Granny's chat were excited because it was giving something concrete and tangible for people to follow and know what is happening. So that's what the excitement was for. And the excitement that somebody was holding BJ to task for her months of threats. She's been holding the community hostage with these intimidation and threats, and people are tired of it. So this was also, we knew this was now going to hold BJ to task for what she had brought into this community. Okay. So that's what the excitement was about. Granny didn't ask for money for it. She never said she won anything. She never said this was going to go in her favor. She even said this could go in BJ's favor. I don't know. But it is going to set forth jurisdiction and whether or not these are actual items that can be sued for. Okay. And from that point, Granny can build her case knowing what is actually able to be processed through the court. Again, layman's terms, not a legal professional, but I did read a whole lot and studied a whole lot and wrote a bunch of crap down. So I like to think I got maybe a little of it. And I have to say, I find it completely ironic that BJ repeatedly keeps, when she talks about the elevated truth situation, she keeps talking about, you can't hold me responsible for what other people say. She'll say it about her child a lot. You can't hold me responsible for what other people say. She said it about Kim and Crafton. You can't hold me responsible for what other people say. I am only responsible for me. Yet, the C&Ds that she sent out were full of things that they didn't do. It was quite interesting. So it is a game of rules for thee, but not for me, because she doesn't want to be blamed for what other people do. But when it comes to Clue and Granny and Queen, they are to be held responsible for their panel, their chat, things being shown on panels that they don't know about, all of that. So complete hypocrisy as is usual for BJ. But there's also BJ, everything that happens, BJ tries to relate back to Granny and Rico. Everything is, this is revenge for Rico. This is retaliation for Rico. This is over and over again. And then she'll say things like, this isn't helping your girl. Y'all are out here fighting for her. This ain't helping her. How exactly is this reflecting badly on Granny? I don't understand that. Like, she's not telling people to go out and do anything for her. You know, people are allowed to, so this is just like anything in the community. Something happens in the community. Let's take, for example, Truth's past essay being brought up. Okay. So you can have something happen in the community and people get angry about it. They don't like the way it was handled. They don't like what was done and they're angry. Whenever we speak out about it, we're not doing it for truth. We're doing it because we are angry. We as people have our own emotions. And if something makes us mad, it makes us mad. It has nothing to do with Truth had to tell us to be mad about it. No, as soon as we heard those words, we were pissed and we had every right to be. So the same thing with this RICO filing. Granny didn't have to tell us to be mad about it. As soon as we saw it, we were pissed for many reasons. A major one being it was off the back of Sebastian and it was obvious retaliation and revenge for BJ towards Granny. We don't need Granny to tell us to be upset about it. We have our own emotions. We read the documents. Like, I don't understand why that's so hard to understand. I don't know if her community is not allowed to have their own separate feelings about things or how that works, but people are allowed to feel how they feel. And it doesn't mean someone has told us how to feel. It means that we have our own brains. We have read something, we have heard something, and our brain has interpreted it. And our emotion is anger. And that's okay. Does not mean we are doing anything for another person. It is our own personal response. So our personal response does not reflect on Granny whatsoever, is not tied to her, nothing. So I'm tired of hearing that bullshit. So then we have BJ lecturing us about cortisol and how all of us over here, all of us miserable, hateful old hags over here, oh, she doesn't use hags, but you know, Craig does, so we know she agrees, are miserable and hate-filled all the time, 24/7. We're hate-filled, miserable people, which we're not. We have lots of laughs over here, actually. The only time that we're really angry is when some bullshit legal action is being done, and it's unjust and stupid and that makes us angry, but we aren't hate-filled over here at all. Anyway, so she wanted to lecture us on cortisol and how bad it was for our bodies, and we're living that way, and we need to look it up. Well, I also one that worked in healthcare. Why don't you look up the effects of not enough sleep on the body? Because it is very detrimental to your health. Adults that don't consistently get more than 6 hours of sleep a night can suffer some serious effects from it. It affects your immune system. You're more likely to get sick, and you're likely to have a harder time recovering. It contributes to obesity. You're at a much higher risk for diabetes. You're at higher risk for stroke, heart disease. It affects your pain sensitivity. You are going to feel pain more easily and more intensely. Your risk for depression, high blood pressure, vascular disease, and it's also been linked to the earlier development of Alzheimer's disease. It can affect your judgment, your ability to learn new things, and the ability to retain information. And the longer you go without sleep, the more prone you are to these negative health effects, and the more prone you are to slower thinking, confusion, making mistakes like taking your kids to school when there's no school that day. And reduced sleep duration has been linked to 7 of the 15 leading causes of death in the US. So think about that. Of the 15 top leading causes of death in the US, 7 of them have a direct link to lack of sleep. So I would say lack of sleep's pretty dangerous for you. Maybe even more than high cortisol levels, probably more than high cortisol levels. Also, when cortisol is released, it increases your blood sugar. So that's one of the negative effects of elevated cortisol. You know what else raises your blood sugar? Excessive intake of sugar. Just saying. I think we've heard about you talk about being addicted to sugar recently. But before you want to assume a bunch of stuff about a big group of people and throw out all of these health warnings at them, maybe take a look inwards too, because especially with what you stated that you have, your vascular care is very important. And so just something to think about. And the last thing I want to mention before I wrap up here is the fact that what I heard from Granny the other morning was accountability, something that I don't hear from many people in this community because, Granny was truthful with her audience. She came to her platform, talked about her case with Tony, what was going on. She was emotional. I don't blame her. She literally has been legally dogpiled, and people are okay with that because they don't like her, which is bullshit in my opinion. But she was able to admit that she had faults in this. Do we ever hear that out of, for example, BJ? I mean, BJ's accountability was, I admit I've been falling asleep for over a year and lying to you and still lying to you about it. But here we have her coming forward and saying, I was wrong. I should have listened. I should have not done this. I played my part in this, and now I have to deal with it. And that was incredibly brave and I'm sure incredibly difficult to do. And I just want to say I am very proud of her for doing that. And I don't care who wants to call me a simp or lackey or whatever. I appreciate people that can do things like that because none of us are perfect. We all get caught up in emotion. We all get caught up in things that we may not normally do. And when the consequences come around, a lot of us want to say, well, yeah, but this happened. And what about if they did this? Or what? And I did not hear that from her. What I heard was, yeah, I played my part in this. I was wrong. And I think that that's an amazing quality to have. That is amazing that she could take accountability. And I wish that more people could be as self-aware and look at themselves and look at situations for what they are instead of what they want them to be, because we all make mistakes. We have all been in a position where we've had to suffer some shitty consequences. And our ego does not want to say, I was wrong. But the person that can do that gains my respect. So I hope that everybody has an amazing week coming up. We're switching into the fall season. I'm super excited for my favorite season. Time to start decorating for Halloween this weekend. Also, I know that there are some people that have seasonal affect disorder, and sometime in the fall season that starts kicking into overdrive. So take care of your mental health, everybody. Put it first. Make sure you're okay. Take self-inventory. Do things for yourself. And everybody, have a wonderful week. I'll be posting more shorts very soon. See you later.